morning to you.
Good morning and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, man.
Happy Sunday. My name's Matt Broder. This is First to the Whistle on the Woodward Sports Network. Joined by my guy, Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool Aid. Good morning, dude.
Look, got the Lions hat on. It's been a while since I've actually rocked it on this show.
I know, right?
Picked it up for the first time this past week. I'm feeling a little bit better about my Lions. Our relationship can now resume.
The Pistons are testing you, Kool Aid. They're testing every thread of your being, I feel.
They are. The Cade Cunningham news was unfortunate. Again, it's heartbreaking. Shout out to, Cade Cunningham for the message that he gave to the people who are supporting him and everything. And prayers up, man. Want to see him get better. Jalen Duren, though, I kind of called this thing ISO Duren, and he's stepping into a completely different level of all-star. He's not a Tyler Herro type all-star. I'm going to say he's like a Cade Cunningham type all-star. He's a guy that's going to be there, and he's going to be a guy now who's going to push that contract up a little bit higher than the 30 or 35 we were talking about last year.
That's what they're saying. He may make that that all-pro team, possibly.
All-NBA.
All-NBA.
$50 million.
Tune into everything Kool Aid does regarding the Pistons with the Woodward Pistons here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're here to talk Lions in the sound booth. I have a new implant. I guess this is home. He's back home. Hey, Stick.
Hey.
You got Detroit guilt?
Built.
Detroit built.
Detroit built.
You weren't guilty. You were spending so much time down in the islands.
No. I'm good. I'm retired now, you know.
Yeah, no, you see the flag on his hat, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's making sure that the Grand Cayman is Detroit Caribbean.
Well, it's called being an ambassador. That's what I'm doing. I'm a global ambassador for the brand.
That's an all-time ambassador for the
Bro, I know
a
real ambassador now.
Yeah, crazy. And
Hey!
wait, I missed it. Something just went over my head.
What?
You guys just had a joke that I missed. I need you to explain.
Oh, just off the energy, man.
Oh, okay, we're just
and
vibing.
I know a real ambassador.
Wait, you don't know about the
hey?
Like the Fonz?
Yeah, the Fonz.
Hey.
Yeah, the Fonz.
Yeah, I think I just missed the setup.
Oh.
I was thinking about my guy Jeff over there in the TD booth because I wanted to say good morning.
So what's up? Good morning. You know,
He's a little sleepy over there.
listen, I'm actually
He's
in a good mood.
Okay,
all right. You know what? I get it's bargain bin, but you know, it still moves.
Best part about today's show, I can mute Jeff's mic whenever.
This is going to be a battle here, Jeff. You and Stick, TD booth and sound booth.
We're absolutely necessary for this team because they need to get depth in those areas, but the work is not finished. Of course, we have the draft coming up.
Yep.
And that's where I want to see Brad Holmes do his best work.
You know what? I get it now. That was your Kobe face. That was, you know what? Is the job finished?
Job's not done yet.
Job's not done yet. And I get that. We kind of I like some of the things that are happening, but I agree with what you're saying, bro.
We're not good. There's
no,
still more to come.
Yeah.
He called him Bargain Bin Brad, I think I heard over there.
Well, and that's what we've known of Bargain Bin Brad, if that's what you want to call him. But when it comes to the draft, we've seen him show out. I got to be honest. I get it. The last couple drafts, people want to put that underneath a microscope. But I'm telling you, this team still has an opportunity to have everything right in front of it because of those guys that he has drafted.
Yeah, he's got that core.
Just that core.
But that core is not enough, as we saw. You got to put the right pieces around him.
But what if the strategy for drafting changes now? Because in the past, it was, I know he attacked those cornerbacks, but he also tried to attack a little bit of depth. There was things as well that some people at the time called luxury picks. This is one now where he's going in, I believe, since I don't think he's gone into a draft like this one since his early years here as a Lions GM, where he's able to say, you know what, I have this need. Let me go and get this need. And I'm hoping this time in the secondary works out a little bit better.
We'll see. He has to hit. This is a time where there's more pressure on him, whether you're on the pro-Brad side or the anti-Brad or the more critical angle of our GM here for the Detroit Lions.
I think he's going to show out in this draft. I don't know why. I'm going to continue this. I really feel like he's going to show out in this draft.
I can't wait. We're going to be talking a lot of free agency today, kind of rounding out that conversation because according to Justin Rogers of the Detroit Football Network, the heavy lifting is done. So we're going to take a look at his free agency up to this point. We're going to talk about some of the free agent moves Brad Holmes has made in the past and some of his draft picks because you said he hit on some, which he definitely did. But he hasn't hit on all of them. So we got to get a little bit critical here. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
What's the matter with Broderick Martin? No.
Broderick Martin's name might be coming up. If people were easing up on the Brad Holmes signing injured players. I don't know if this most recent signing of an edge rusher is going to help those defending Brad Holmes.
Well, you just said something, Broder. I want to circle back on real quick.
Come on.
That Brad, this is like the most pressure he's been under.
Yeah.
You think this is more pressure than having to rebuild the whole damn thing?
Yes.
Like if he missed on those early draft picks, the whole GM's done, everything's done. So I mean, even if he misses this year, the Lions will be all right.
They will be, but
They'll be okay.
for all the reason we like to give him credit for turning around the Detroit Lions organization of how horrible it's been for our entire lifetimes, I think that's why there was less pressure. Like, everyone expected him to fail. Everyone laughed at Dan Campbell and the marriage between Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell when it first started. And there was you could only go up or do what everyone expected you to do is fail. And Brad Holmes has not failed. In fact, he's succeeded. You could give him an A up to this point if you want. But that doesn't mean the job's done. That doesn't mean it's the final exam.
Yeah.
It means there is more to come. We now expect more. That's the fun of sports. That's the fun of this Lions team. It's like, man, we know we're good, but the pressure to hit on these next picks because money's tight. You could spend a little more in certain areas, but because you hit so high on the Penei Sewells, the Hutches, the Amon-Ra St. Browns, the Jamos, you got to pay them. Jack Campbell, Gibbs, Branch, Laporta, the list goes on. You have to pay all pros. So now it's you got to draft the right pieces and you got to find the right free agents. And a lot of people are kind of pissed off that he hasn't gone out and signed that big name guy, that $100 million guy, that $20 million edge rusher.
So, yeah, we're pissed we're not overpaying for players? Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's crazy. But what that led me to think about this week, and I hit you guys in our group chat. I want to hear about who are the best free agent acquisitions in Lions history. Like, dating as far as you wanted to take it back, who are some of the best? And chat, get your answers in the chat, in the Woodward Sports chat. As you join, maybe hit that like button for us. I see you, Greg Thomas, Phil C, Vincent E313, A Diz, IPE Club. Shout out to all you for joining. John effing Lord. Let's have some good conversation today. But first, Terry Foster isn't on the show today, so I'll go to our elder statesmen, our senior citizens, Kool Aid and Stick.
Oh, thanks. Kool Aid, am I older than you?
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I'm older than Kool Aid.
Yeah.
So Kool Aid's the young one.
So we'll
Then I'm older than brother.
we'll let you take this one first, Stick.
All right.
And you have the longest history with this Lions team too. Who do you have as one of the best free agent acquisitions in Lions history?
I immediately text the group Dre Bly. And honestly, I really, when you dissect all of them, I can't think of anybody else that they signed that was as big of a deal. Now, did Dre Bly come here, become an all-pro, lead us to any playoff wins? Or no, but that's the history with pretty much every free agent ever brought to the Lions. So just the excitement of getting that guy. He was coming off a Super Bowl. It was like, holy shit, somebody actually a winner wants to come to Detroit?
Right.
And we got one, and he played well when he was here. I liked Dre Bly when he was here. Was he the greatest in the world? No, but he was the best we had for a long time at that position. So I'm going with Dre Bly. That's my initial thought. And looking back throughout history, I really can't. We got James Stewart, and then he got hurt in preseason.
Yep.
That was a big signing, but also led to absolutely nothing. We got the corpse of Adrian Peterson one year, so that was fun. So there's nothing else. I really can't think of anybody. Jamie Collins. We signed Jamie Collins and ate that fucking contract. Yeah, nobody.
It's kind of the theme. And before we kind of go there, I'm going to keep going around. Who are some of the guys? Because in the chat, Greg Thomas said, not many. Not many. Steve DeJong said Marvin Jones and Golden Tate. Those are good ones. Yeah. I like Sticks because – remember, it was the greatest show on turf. The Rams, the St. Louis Rams, were all about that offense. It was so exciting. It's what we've seen the Lions those last couple years. But Dre Bly was that dude on defense. It was cool to see him come to Detroit.
Definitely tough to beat down. And by acquisition, do you mean like any acquisition? Signing or trade?
Free agency.
Just any type of free agency.
The acquisition where a player chose to come to Detroit. I'm leading into, is Detroit a destination? Like, are our expectations still too high for Brad Holmes convincing guys to come and play for the Lions? Are you not signing those guys because they don't want to come? Or is your strategy around going after free agents
Somebody I'll throw some love to is David Montgomery.
There you go.
I thought that
There
one
you
was
go.
absolutely this
I'm
guy
glad you said that.
terrorized us. I was not a David Montgomery fan. I was one of those guys that was like, if we ever had a guy like that, I would root for him. I didn't think we would ever show up on his radar in division as he was with the Bears. And when we actually flipped him this way and he said things like, yo, I felt wanted here. I felt like this was a spot that I could actually continue maturation of my career. I thought he was done a little bit. And when he got here, it was like lightning in a bottle, man. It was everything and more that I could have hoped for. And we saw him actually have, I believe, a couple better years, at least a better one of those seasons, absolutely better than anything he had with the Chicago Bears, especially when you're talking about catching the ball out of the backfield. He showed versatility. He showed a willingness to honestly expand his game. He showed a willingness to get back out there, not like he's at the beginning of his career, and be a hammer for this Detroit Lions team and set a tone. And so for me, I will definitely show some love to David Montgomery. I love Dre Bly, though. When he came here, Stick is not lying about the hype, man. Like, I remember when he got I was like, yo, we got a player like that?
Yeah, right.
It was
Oh, my God.
absolutely crazy.
One of those
remember
guys,
that time.
He's on Madden. I think he had like a 97, 98
I couldn't
speed.
wait.
You're like,
As
I
soon
want
as
that
we
guy.
got him, I was like, oh, my gosh, update the rosters, bro. That's when you had to do it manually.
Yep. That's a good one. David Montgomery, one of those first guys that you realize like how good some running backs actually are. They're just not in the right situation. David Montgomery behind that Bears offensive line, despite terrorizing the Lions for years, he was so much more of a player, and it needed to be unlocked when he came here to Detroit. Young Hefe. There's some good ones in the chat. Eric Moy says Clover Quinn was good. Clover Quinn's a really good one.
That's
James
really good
Ref and Xavier DT. Reggie Bush.
Reggae Bush.
I liked Reggie
Gregory
Bush.
Bartosiewicz also said Reggie Bush. Steve DeYoung, Matt Prater. How about Scott Mitchell from Phil C? You got anyone in mind?
Person that came to mind for me was Golden Tate. And that's about it for me.
That's what Dante said.
I just see the flip in my head,
That's about it for me.
Not Gus Farrat. Shout out Bogey
That's
Time.
about it for me. You know what I'm saying? You know, you guys get a lot older, so you know what I mean.
Bro, no love for Dante Culpepper?
You know what?
Oh, God.
Oh,
I think
God.
I was in diapers, so I mean, I never even.
It's okay. You don't got to
diagnose that as a true fan. I was in diapers running around, so it doesn't count that way. You got to be able to truly digest it,
It don't
or
count
have
for us
seen it,
either.
or have felt it in some way. And Golden Tate was the free agent signing that I can remember that I actually had like a feeling toward.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
You just
terms
wonder
of
how
being a fan.
Stafford couldn't get it done with Calvin and Golden Tate in that 2014 defense.
You're asking me that?
Damn, Stick.
It's called a clutch gene, buddy. It's called not having everything perfectly set up for you, and then signing multiple All-Pro players.
It's called
to
a
back you up.
referee.
What a alley.
Yeah.
It's called a referee.
Oh yeah, it's the referee. Oh yeah, it's the referee. 12 years of referees, over a decade of my life because of referees. Come on.
No. Just that one.
12
series.
years.
Just that one season.
Yeah, and you got
Everything
the ball
else is
back after
horrible
that bad
coaching
call.
and
Just by the way,
horrible-
just to let you
love
know,
Jay.
you got the ball back, and you did nothing with it. Nothing.
No, I love James shouting out the legend Matt Prater.
Prater was a good signing.
Yeah.
They were in flux after Jason Hansen,
AKA Nick Swartz.
the leading scorer in Detroit Lions history. Just the one position we never had to worry about for all those years. It took getting Prater, and we're starting to have to work Jake Bates into the conversation. Let's move to more modern day, because the point I was trying to make, it's not like many stars have come willingly to Detroit. It's felt like that's changed over the last couple of years. It's felt like it. People want to play for Dan Campbell, want to come to the Detroit Lions, but they haven't exactly signed one of those guys to a long-term contract. And then we get to this season,
They
this
flirted with him.
offseason, one multi-year contract. Center Cade Mace, 3 years, $25 million contract.
Love that contract.
Great contract.
Love it.
Great signing, but that's it in terms of signing players to multi-year deals. What's to make of that? Is it Detroit? Do people not want to come to Detroit? Is it the situation we're in right now? New Money 3775 in the chat says Brad's job is to get players. Dan's job is to manage them. So who really been messing up?
I wonder if it's a little bit more tough to get players to come here if your strategy is, hey, we're just going to flirt with you, bro. And we're going to send you home with the Derek Jeter gift basket.
Oh.
If that's what people already know coming in, then they understand the deal. And imagine if you give that year, you go all out, and they say, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there. You're just like, where's the key?
Yeah.
And they're just like, the car will be here in a minute. Then I wonder how that would affect things. Now, in the past, I think it's just because they've been bad. But underneath Brad Holmes, if I know this 1 year is not going to really net me the check or the long-term contract here, then that's something that I have to consider, especially in a contact sport like football. And
Yeah.
so that's something that I don't know pops up to me because you talk about flirting with players like Carlton Davis and Zeitler, who I wish they would have given at least multi-year contracts to. You know, I know what Carlton Davis, they traded for him, right?
They traded for him. He was on the Bucks.
And he was absolutely campaigning to stay here. He was going on everybody's podcast talking about how good Dan Campbell was. But that was the only individual that we really heard him talk about that you would consider in amongst that coach and front office rank. And ultimately, we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
And I wish we would have had those two guys here. So
Yeah.
I feel like he flirts a little more than gives out the long term. And I don't know, after a while, when you start stacking those Derek Jeter gift baskets, it's like, you know what? Nah, I need the real McCoy.
If those gift baskets are what Al-Qudi Muhammad gets, what Roy Lopez gets, I'll take it. I'll take a one-night stand in Jeter's penthouse. Can we rewind that?
Yeah,
do not put that.
Clip
that
that.
is, do
Clip
not
that.
get that. Steve DeJong in the chat, he said the hype I had for Trey Flowers signing.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Wrong
The
I
old
was
England
about that one.
Patriots. Yeah, that was a fun stretch.
Dante151, yes, Steve DeJong, we were all hyped for Flowers in a spenny voice. Ew.
Ew.
Yeah.
Gross.
Some of the best free agent acquisitions, some of the best were in the last couple of years, and they just aren't even here anymore. When you talk about the Alex Anzalonis of the world, you talk about David Montgomerys, Kevin Zeitlers, they're these short-term contracts. So
Yeah, but
are our expectations, I know you're a defender of Brad Holmes, but like, do we just have the wrong expectations of like bringing in, not trading for Max Crosby, but going and signing a Trey Hendrickson when he was available?
yeah, I think it's just that's not the history of this team, and that's definitely not the history of Brad Holmes right now. And with every guy that he signed to a short term and let go, really Carlton Davis is the only one that feels like it stings a little bit. Watching him last year, knowing we were struggling at the cornerback position, was like, damn, wish we. But remember, he got his jaw broken too in the playoff game, so it's not like injury didn't strike him when he was in Detroit. So that's where it's like, if you're going to judge Brad, wait 2 or 3 years to see what Alex Anzalone does after his Lions stint. What's Kevin Zeitler doing after his Lions stint? He went to Tennessee for a year, and now he's trying to find a team on free agency. So it's not like he's letting guys go that are absolutely ascending. That's
right.
That's where I'd start to like question, like, why aren't we signing these guys to longer term deals? So to me, it just seems like he knows what the hell he's doing. He's cashing out the lottery ticket when it's the most valuable.
Yeah.
You know, he's playing the stock market with players. He's buying low and he's selling when he has to. And Alex Anzalone, he bought at a bargain bin. And what happened to him? Okay, the coaching improved him. He became a much better player here than he was in New Orleans. And honestly, he contributed a lot to this team. But you know what? This is what happens with good teams. This is what New Money Lions fans don't understand. You're going to love a guy, but it ain't, like you think New England cared about what players were on the field besides Tom Brady and Gronk?
No.
They didn't give a shit. They just kept rolling through players, like platooning it, and next man up, and we're going to find a guy to fill the hole. So, like, that's where I just hate these fans that, like, oh, they're letting Alex Anzalone go. Like, yeah, it's time. You take old Yeller out to pasture and say, sorry, bud, we appreciate what you gave us, but it's time to go. And I love Alex Anzalone, appreciate what he did here, but last year people were saying, re-sign him to a multiple year. And what'd they do? Hey, here's 500 extra thousand, shut the fuck up, play for the next year, and we know what's going to happen next year.
And I agree with that more with Anzalone because you could see the tread coming off the tires. Shout out opening day on the way.
Yeah.
Talk Yo Talk Stick says New Money.
But, and I see
This is
Weezy
new
D
money,
said, why didn't
ironically.
Brad sign 36-year-old Zeitler to a long-term deal?
Right.
Nobody wanted him to a long-term deal. The push was, if you're within a Super Bowl window for a couple years, maximize that because I believe Zeitler here with consistency on this offensive line is better than Zeitler.
But he
wherever
wanted to
else
go home
went.
to Tennessee.
That's
Like,
because they weren't going to pay him either.
no. Listen,
It's recurring. It's what Brad continues to do. He's not paying people, and it starts to leak out.
why hasn't anybody else signed Zeitler this year?
Same thing happened with David Montgomery too. I mean, and look, we know that Taylor Decker would be better here. No one's signing him,
right?
But he would be better here. Same that I believe with Taylor Decker. I believe if we run it
You're
back last year with him,
You're romanticizing.
No, I think that a little bit of consistency.
You've grown affectionate to
well,
those guys.
hey, at least we can roll back the film when we sat on these desks before and said, bring them back. That was my point the entire time. Carlton Davis and Zeitler would have been better than anything else that we ran out there last year.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Carlton Davis, I'll give you.
So I'm not saying long-term deals. I'm just saying a couple years maybe just to maximize your Super Bowl window while you know Jared Goff has to remain more than just upright. He has to have time to be able to operate the way that they said. That's what kind of took me back is that they told us what the recipe was and then took a step back on making sure that that's what the Detroit Lions presented every single Sunday. So that to me is where I like Brad. If we're grading him auditorily, pass all day long. And I'm giving him at least overall his tenure a B+. I think what's keeping him outside of me giving him an A is the fact that they haven't touched the Super Bowl yet.
Yeah.
They've sniffed and smelled it.
And
I believe
half
that this
a football away from it, motherfuckers.
Yeah, but I'm not as down on him as I think some others are. I think that it's just the frustrations of being right there. But Stick is right in this regard. This is still a really good team, and it's in large part because of what Brad has done.
No,
and
it's only because of what Brad's done. Only. The only reason we're here is Brad Holmes, you idiots. Like, if it wasn't for Brad Holmes, we'd be in Bob Quinn, Martin Mayhew era. Matt Millen. Like,
and the reason I still have hope is because of, honestly, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and what they've already shown us. They've put themselves in a position to at least have the room to wiggle out of things because they haven't committed long-term to everybody that we've wanted them to sign.
But Kool Aid, they had a winning record last year. What a bunch of failures.
And honestly,
it was a failure. Let me interject. It was. We had Super Bowl
playoffs and Super Bowl or bust.
And why do you have those Super Bowl aspirations?
Because of Brad.
Hey!
But listen, when you have players that are coming in the building and you have Amon-Ra and these other guys saying no, it's like we only thinking about Super Bowl. Like we're only thinking about going to the Super Bowl. You don't get to the Super Bowl, you failed because that's your goal. Did you hit the goal? The goal wasn't hit. You failed. The job wasn't finished.
Right.
You didn't finish it. You failed.
That doesn't. Yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't mean that everything within that building in Allen Park is broken and needs to be fixed. I'm with Brad's strategy. You look, all the guys we mentioned, he's gotten younger at all these positions.
Correct.
Which isn't always the chemistry for success. Like it's not always the recipe you're creating doesn't always produce the same results. So you decided to go younger than Zeitler, and you drafted Ratledge, and you had Mahogany, and you thought you could get it done with Graham Glasgow, and that formula didn't work. Maybe you would have wanted a veteran like Zeitler there for one more year. You got younger this year with Juice Scruggs. You swapped out Scruggs for Glasgow. You swapped out. You're going to get a new linebacker. You got rid of Anzalone, who's almost 32. Khalif Raymond's gone. You bring in Greg Dortch. Like, everything they're doing, they're making these younger moves, which outside of the draft picks, though, they're all one-year deals. So when are you going to find that, I don't know, that cornerback that is your guy? Is DJ Reed it? Would you... 3 years, $48 million.
Broder,
would you now, looking back on it, have gone 3 years, $60 for Carlton?
Broder, please
in that window. What'd you say?
Don't ever say that DJ Reed is the answer.
But we can laugh at DJ Reed now.
He got $48 million. He's paid like he's supposed to be the answer.
Well, that's the thing. You can laugh now, but he was the number one cornerback in the free agency class
celebrated
last year.
him.
And everybody was excited to get him. Did he have a shit year? But yeah, maybe that had to do with the defensive coordinator not being able to draw up a play outside his X's and O's that he starts and ends the game with every single time. We're going man, no matter who we have, as long as it's DJ Reed one-on-one with Puka Nacua.
And that's the thing for me though, is because how can he be like the man? Like, he can't be the man on this team. Not this team. He wasn't the man over there with the Jets. He can't be. When you're 5'9", you can't be the man on your as a defensive back. You can't be the man on your team.
Are the days of a DB being the man done?
No, but
how many DBs are the man?
You look at
you can count on your hand, but are they the man because they're the man, or is Derek Stingley the man both because he's good, but also the rest of that defense is insane?
Helps.
And that's what we get back to.
Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Jericho Autry. It's that defensive line. It's their linebacking core. It's all the other DBs in that secondary with him, Lassiter and Petrie.
Yeah,
they got dudes. Derek Stingley is the man on that defense, but would he be the man on this Detroit defense when in 2025 you couldn't get to the quarterback? Regardless of your stupid sack numbers, they were weak sacks.
He'd be 100% better.
Yeah,
percentage-wise than anybody on this team.
You're right.
Triple that times 5,000. I'll put money on it. I'll put my whole life savings on it.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But that's what people said about. That's what people said about
how
Sauce.
bad this thing is.
That's what people said about Sauce 2 years ago when he got paid and his games declined. He can't do it all himself.
I don't think his game has declined. I think people have realized that it's impossible to hold a receiver to 0 catches. I think that's like
the
Pat
receivers
Surtain
are so good now.
Pat Surtain was Defensive Player of the Year, and yet he still does not hold his opponent, his receiver, whoever he's guarding, to 0 catches for 0 yards. Like, that's not going to happen as a DB. But is Sauce Gardner still one of the top DBs? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's top 5 without a doubt.
But is he the man? I don't know if there's man's out there.
There's only one the man DB in the NFL, and that is Pat Surtain.
Yeah.
And the other thing that kind of undercuts, I guess, the progress or at least the plan is you don't expect some of these guys that you're giving the money to and the guys you want to give the bread to, and we've talked about this before, to honestly get injured. Do we like the DJ Reed signing a lot better if the safeties are intact? Probably. We probably like that a whole lot better, especially if TA knows that they have that support behind them. But how much more pressure does it put on them, especially when you have Kelvin Shepard, it's a sticks out there, not necessarily putting them in the best positions after the teams figured out what they were doing. And you can't keep rolling out your specialized game plan without knowing, hey, we're going to have our 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th contingency plan if they figure this out. That was what I feel like was missing on both sides of the ball last year. There was a lack of creativity, a lack of creating that balance that keeps the other team off balance. And I'm hoping that they have a fix on what they're going to do with these safeties. Because I think that's I'm not going to say as important as the defensive line, but understanding where they are right now with the fact that they don't have either one of their starting safeties, or at least we don't think that they do to start the season. That's where I'm really hoping that Brad goes and has a plan in this draft to be able to lock something down.
We got a nod of confidence in a roundabout way in terms of that safety room this past week when the Lions guaranteed $8.74 million of Kirby Joseph's 2027 contract. They're not doing that if they have serious concerns about his knee, right?
I mean, they gave him the contract, and they didn't have the doubts either. And
right.
Then we saw afterwards they probably should have had a little bit more.
Yeah, but now he has the injury. They have it. They didn't have to pay him. They didn't have to pick that up right now, but they did.
So you think it's a better sign?
I'm reading into it. Nothing.
I want to believe you, Broder.
Honestly, it needs to
Kirby
happen.
would change a lot for me. That would be almost like making a splash this offseason.
What is this free agent? What does this defense lack in a big way?
Everything.
Playmakers.
That.
It's the
Turnovers.
playmakers.
And those are kind of the same answer.
Turnovers.
They're kind of the same playmakers.
The Dan Campbell interview coming out of halftime saying against Houston.
Yeah.
All we got to do is, we're not playing like ourselves. We got to force some turnovers.
And while he's talking, what happens?
That man, Carlton Davis.
Yep.
Picked off C.J. Stroud at the sideline, and then one more time. Yeah.
Yep.
And what a great game by the leader, Jared Goff, to put his team in a position to need those interceptions.
That's
Exactly.
an acquisition.
Set it up.
Only 5 interceptions.
Is that the
in a
best?
comeback win, though?
Was it 5 in the first half? Or was it 4 in the first half?
I think
He
it
had
was-
4 going into it?
Yeah, I think it was 4,
Yeah.
but
He's
5
like-
for the game, and they still won.
That's a team rallying around their quarterback. Am I right?
Sometimes you got to do that to motivate your team,
Yeah.
Like, hey, guys, I need you today.
But dude, they need playmakers on defense. You look, they lost to Meek Robertson.
But we also need to put them in the right fucking positions.
That too.
Stick is not letting it go.
Listen,
No, that's part of it.
I don't hate many people on this squad, but last year, man, I was throwing things during the game. Like, it was It was my first year not doing the post-game show, so I could, like, sit at home and actually just watch the games instead of, like, all the chaos going around at the bars and stuff behind me. And, man, just every game. And then I went to the L.A. game. Like, I drove there. I visited my mom in Phoenix, and then I drove 6 hours to L.A. in the morning and got there, went to SoFi, Lions kicking the shit out of them in the first half, and then just nonstop, the same play. Puka on a drag, Puka on a drag, Puka on a wheel, Puka on a drag. And it's just like, my
Mix
goodness.
in a Kyron Williams and a Blake Corum 7-yard run.
Yeah.
8-yard run.
And then mix in a catch that wasn't a catch on the goal line. You know?
Tight end.
Yeah. Like,
Colby Parkinson.
It was just...
Bro.
Oh, man. And then Calvin Shepard just kept running the same base-ass defense. The same base defense. Over and over and over. And it's like, dude, blitz somebody. Switch it up. Drop 8 in coverage. Rush 2. Do something.
Bro, it reminds me of the Steelers game. I feel like it was somebody playing Madden just spamming the same play. Like, the first 45-yard run, and they're like, oh, that worked? Let's see if they're going to stop it this time. Let's just see if we can just do that again.
How about when Jameis Winston came in?
Oh, my God.
Jameis Winston looked like all-world Jameis Winston.
He had Derek Barnes sprawled out in ways no man should be, bro. That sideline, like, I'm like, no. Like, what is going on here?
Rookie DC, the problem was...
Playmakers and a lack of speed.
He didn't make adjustments in the locker room in that Rams game. He didn't make adjustments
ever
that entire week after the Rams
or
game.
All season.
He was okay earlier in this. I don't even know what type of adjustments he made, but he was having success with all of his linebackers running all over the field. But as soon as teams figured that out, they couldn't stop the run, and then everything fell apart.
Yeah, well, you have your linebacker as your nickel constantly because you want to run man. It doesn't work.
That's a problem. And then the biggest adjustment was in week 18.
With no safeties, though, to be fair. And I do know, I heard I forget who was saying it. It was on the national stage. Shout out to Vinny Goodwill on the Four Letter Network, man. It's from Detroit.
Shout out.
But, you know, I heard some of the national people saying that one of the reasons why Kafka is here, along with Petzing, obviously you got to get your offensive coordinator, it was because Dan Campbell wanted to give a little bit more attention. It was some of the things that we were kind of hinting at. I know Bray talked about it as well. He wanted to give more attention to help that transition in his first year. We know that when Ben Johnson was making a transition, that he did have a whole lot of Dan Campbell to help him with that. And last year, when you got John Morton, that was realistically a dud. That took a whole lot of attention away from what he could have paid to the
that he didn't plan on too. This is the guy. He's been around the NFL for 25 years. Yeah. He helped put in this offense. I'm not going to have to spend much time with the OC. Yeah. I can hang out with Calvin Shepard and help him make it. It quickly went the other way. And
that's where, you know, we know that he's going to be the defensive coordinator coming in this year, and you want to see that this guy is making some type of changes as it relates to innovation. I believe that the base stuff that he does and the things that he does with the linebackers is brilliant. The problem is you got your defensive line, and you got your safeties and your secondary that you're going to have to figure things out, especially when you lose your personnel. That's what Aaron Glenn was good at. Yeah. No matter what the personnel that was out there, he understood how to put out the right schemes to fit to the players he had. Even if it wasn't the players that we necessarily wanted to see out there on the field. They were at least in the right place to make the play, Kendall Vildor. They just had some skill deficiency issues that he doesn't necessarily control.
And at the end of the day, he managed to scheme that defense up to be one of the best run-stopping defenses in the NFL, despite having – I mean, it was the Legion of Whom on the defensive line, too. We're talking Benito Jones, Isaiah Buggs for a half a game.
You know what? You're right on that. You're right on that.
But
he understood how to scheme it a whole lot better.
As long as you make the offense one-dimensional, we'll figure it out. We got playmakers in the secondary with Branch and Kirby and some decent cornerbacks that can, you know, stay as close to the wide receivers as possible. But when they were able to stop the run, it was simpler for the defense. It was simpler for the Malcolm Rodriguez's of the world, who was a starting linebacker after being drafted. Any of the rookies they drafted, it was easier because they didn't have to worry about the run. And that's what fell apart last year, too. Shout out Dante15151 with the Woodward Sports Super Chat $4.99. Carlton Davis got his jaw broken in that Buffalo game during the season 2 years ago, and it required surgery that sidelined him for at least 6 weeks. It's one of the biggest injuries at the end of that season. I was like, Another one.
That was tough.
Another one. It happened. And Carlton Davis has had some injuries throughout his career. I don't want to put like a broken jaw on him as the injury-prone label, but he's missed some games. I don't even know how you break a jaw in a football game with the helmet.
The crown of a helmet to underneath your jaw. That hit was crazy. It was like he took a spearhead uppercut.
If it's possible, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more.
Yep.
I'm surprised there aren't more broken bones.
Even the leg whip that happened to Aiden, like you're surprised that doesn't happen more. I mean, legs are getting whipped around each other all the time, and linemen when they get fallen on constantly from behind, I wonder how the hell they even get up half the time.
Even with their leg braces,
Right.
How is an ankle not twisted under 2 350-pound men?
Right, and then you just got to lay there until all these dudes just climb off you. It's a violent sport. That's why we love it. But Kool Aid, back to your point about Calvin Shepard, like being great at the linebacker position. There's nothing wrong with being good at what you're good at and understanding what you're not good at. Because let me tell you a tale about a guy named Rod Marinelli. This guy could coach the hell out of a defensive line. One of the best defensive line coaches in the league. And I don't know if he's still in the league, but as little as 5 years ago he was still specializing in defensive line play. But you put him at head coach, you go 0-16.
Yep.
So,
you believe in the invisible.
And sometimes, a sharp shovel, a will. That's all you need. But sometimes just because you're good at one thing doesn't make you good at everything. And that's my fear with Shep, and last year just scares the hell out of me because you got to make adjustments. You got to tinker. You got to try things. You got to throw off the other offense. When we came out predictable every single week, it was just the writing was on the wall. Well, the offense has to win this game. And the offense did what they could do. A top 5 offense in the league with a kind of rundown offensive line. They still put up numbers, but the defense just couldn't help them at all this year.
Yeah. Legion of Whom.
You go ahead.
I should say Legion of Whom. Shep doesn't have a chance with this roster. Follows it up. Franchise aborted the defense years ago. Shep's just the fall guy.
And I see a couple of others here. New Money says, teams barely scored 20 points on us, barely got 100 yards on us, rushing to start every season. Then the injury started. And then there's another one that says, I think IPE Club. I think Shepard needs healthy players to compete. Only reason I give him a pass. And when we saw, I think people forget, these players got hurt during, a lot of our major players got hurt underneath Aaron Glenn's tenure.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn was the one who lost the whole defense and still went 15-2.
He lost the defensive line and still managed to have an elite run-stopping defensive line. Shep last year, lost his secondary, and there are negatives to both, but Aaron Glenn managed to make it work with what he had. Last year, Shep fell apart.
And I still have, if it's auditory, I'm still on the side of pass for Shep this year. But it's definitely a lot larger, a lot more zoomed in microscope for me with Kelvin Shepard. But Aaron Glenn showed exactly what he was really good at. When you hear players continue to put him as the number one coach that they would want to play for if he became a head coach, and you hear, I don't think that Dan Campbell made a mistake with that one and gave him as much reign as he did. Aaron Glenn was really, really special at making sure that no matter how much people could gash us up between those 20s, and no matter what personnel was out there on the field, he was still making sure that the red zone was their zone. He was holding teams to field goals. He was turning complete great drives by the opponents into turnovers and takeaways. Shout out to Kirby Joseph. And we saw Kirby Joseph grow as a player into something that a lot of us didn't think would happen underneath Aaron Glenn and a lot of those secondary members. So, at least with Brian Branch as well. So for me, I do believe that Calvin Shepard has to find a way to innovate, find a way to even disguise a coverage. If it's something you like, at least disguise it a little bit. Do something different. Do some type of wrinkles. Have your guys stand up and step back and then maybe come back to the line. Do just something different.
Well, remember the playoff game?
Spam the same defensive plays. That's not stopping the same offensive plays that they're going to spam.
Right. Remember the playoff game against Tampa Bay? Brian Branch had 2 sacks blitzing off the edge. When did we see any of that last year? Like a cornerback blitz or a safety coming down and blitzing or, a twist at the linebacker position. It was all just man up, man to man, our athletes versus yours, and we're on our 3rd and 4th string of athletes, so of course you're going to whoop our ass.
I remember 2 years ago, Kirby Joseph's picking off Jordan Love at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
which means he's there trying to go sack him and is able and managed to adjust on the fly and pick off Jordan Love.
Thank you.
You got to call it what it is. Vanilla. It's vanilla. The defense was vanilla.
Last year?
I mean, yeah. And especially when you look at it in terms of
disguised vanilla.
when you look at it,
by the second quarter, third quarter, we were all like, "Oh, that's just vanilla," and the defense and offenses were like, "That's just vanilla."
Yeah, when you look at it in terms of what, like, especially how they use Hutch. Like, we talk about Hutch being out there wide every single play. He has to work so much harder to get to the quarterback. It's not like you're using him as a chess piece. You're just sticking him out there and saying go. But we forget that Hutch has the ability to play from the inside on the defensive line as well. He has the ability to rush the passer from the inside. He has the ability to essentially, be a blitzer off the, right up the middle. Like, there's so many different things that you can do with an edge rusher in order to get him to the quarterback, rather than just putting him out there wide and saying go. Yeah. Because that's not going to work, because they're going to chip, and then they're going to have the tight end stacked over him. Now he has to chip the tight end, and then he has to deal with the offensive tackle. Now you're putting so many obstacles in his way in order for him to get to the quarterback. You have to be better at utilizing your elite talent, and it's just plain and simple. It's just as that. If it's not done, then there
how
needs
about
to be
just
a change right
utilizing?
away.
How about just utilizing your talent? Like last year, Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader, Lee McNeil, Tyleek Williams, Al-Quadin Muhammad. The list goes on. Compared to Aaron Glenn in 2023, we're talking Romeo Okwara. We're talking Broderick Martin, Benito Jones, Charles Harris, Tyson Aluwalu, Quentin Bohanna. One of the top 5 run defenses in the league. He had guys on that defensive line. Stop the run. Make your adjustment. It looks like, as we kind of bring it back to this year, this free agency, I want to ask you guys, other than Caden Mays, who's been your favorite free agent acquisition? Because some of these guys we've seen signed, especially on the defensive end, is painting the picture of what Brad and Kelvin Shepard's defensive strategy is going to be. And I hate to break it to you guys, it's not, let's go get the quarterback, go get the quarterback. Free agent acquisition not named Caden Mays this year that you like.
I mean, we discussed him last week. I can go with Isaiah Pacheco. I like that signing. You needed a tough guy between the tackle, running back, some guy to pick up those 1-yard runs like we talked about last week. The Lions were dog shit on 3rd and 4th down and 1 last year. So, yeah, I love that signing. And then his press conference.
Love it.
The guy comes in here, the Tasmanian Devil, I'm just going to be running no matter what. Like, those are the kind of guys you want. You get you fired up. And I do believe that he could have signed elsewhere, too.
Yeah.
And I don't believe we overpaid him by any stretch of the imagination. So, all in all, he checks every single box. He's a need. He wanted to be here. And we got him at bargain bin prices for bread.
Yeah. And he's
That's
not.
good. It's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not always
I'd
a
say
bad thing. It's a good thing when it's good now.
It's a good thing when it's good and there's a reason for it.
I'm sorry, but when you're talking like the bargain bin DVDs at Walmart, those movies are shit.
I don't know.
When people say bargain bin, that's what I like. Oh, he's shopping.
No, let me say. I listen. I've worn plenty of Ralph Lauren polos from Salvation Army. So it's like I get it. I think that Brad Holmes is one of those people. I think he's looking for the brands. Like, I don't know what you guys' top brands are and things that you like personally, but I believe if it's Brad Holmes, he's going through our free agency. He's like, you know what? I know I've gotten some pretty good shirts from there before. I think I can get me some polos.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what he's trying to do. I appreciate what he's done to rebuild the depth, because I believe that's what was missing a lot this year. Obviously, if you were going to have injuries to some of your big guys, that matters when you're talking about Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. But we've seen them be able to better weather that in the past because they have had depth and versatility. They were missing a lot of that last year. Guys that they have some hopes in, and this is where you kind of like Brad Holmes' plan as you move forward, because Tate Ratledge another year. I think he's going to be an absolute animal on that offensive line. I believe he's the one that we're underestimating the most on that offensive line. I almost wish I could say year 2 Tate Ratledge is the addition that I like the most. But I am intrigued, if I can say this, by Greg Dortch. You know, you talk about Khalif Raymond out, and you talk about Greg Dortch in, who has some familiarity with Drew Petzing. back with the Cardinals. Didn't have a year that, knocks anyone's socks off last year, but you're looking at a guy who, in this offense with Jared Goff, who, if he's the forgotten about person, I believe he can make some plays for us. And if he's on that special teams as well, which it looks like he might be in terms of returning kicks, this guy, at least in the plays that we saw Braylon breaking down, he is absolute speed and space. So if he gets a seam, if it's him, coming across the middle and it's just him and a linebacker in a foot race, this is a guy who can absolutely make defenses pay. And you talk about Jared Goff and those Jared Goff windows, the timing that he has. This is a player who I'm telling you, forget about him. I think he's going to, like we've seen Khalif Raymond do, he's going to absolutely gas you. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm intrigued by it. I probably would have said Isaiah Pacheco too, but I was like, you know what? Greg Dortch was one who I actually was like, you know what? I'm kind of fired up about this.
I don't know what you guys – I don't know what the stats say, but it felt like special teams took a step back last year. It felt like more – it felt off. And Khalif Raymond, everybody loves Raymond. Khalif Raymond had his worst year. Yeah, he went to the Chicago Bears, so we –
Traitor.
See you later.
Yep.
Thank you for your time.
I wish nothing but health for you and yours, but never play football again. Thank you.
In 17 losses for your team.
That's all I wish.
He had his worst year on special teams, too. Worst year punt returning. Greg Dortch, if you really look into it, he's improved each year and really gained a ton of confidence returning punts, specifically last year in Arizona. He also, like you said, knows his role and knows what Petzing can do with him as the number 4, the number 5 in the special teams.
I expect like a play or two a game where it's like, Dortch up the, streaking up the middle right past the linebacker for at least 15, 16 yards.
Does he have a nickname?
First down.
Dortch the Torch? Like, is that too easy? I didn't just come up with that on my own, right?
But that's what I'm saying. You have to think about it. If he can make one of those types of
Scott Storch.
You remember him?
He was one of the hottest producers on his era. Golly, Scott Storch.
Jeff.
But I want to say on Dortch real quick. I like what you said about the special teams aspect because that's what we have grown to know about this kind of Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes era, and we've seen those types of players make big impact. So you might look and say, well, they only have 200 to 400, or maybe he's good for 300 to 500 yards. Yeah, receiving. What can he do as it relates to rushing? What is he going to also contribute, like we saw with Khalif Raymond in the special teams game?
And how about the Seahawks?
The overall picture.
How about the Super Bowl champion Seahawks acquiring Rashid Shaheed? The biggest difference he made was on special teams for their Super Bowl run.
Yep.
And he just got paid. I thought they overpaid for what he gave to them as a receiver, but you can't deny how important he was as a kick returner.
He was the key.
He was the key. Jeff, your favorite free agent acquisition, not named.
This is gonna be tough for
Cade
Jeff.
Mays.
It's not tough. It's not tough at all. It's Roger McCreary, because of the fact that not only does it fit a need, but it gives you depth in a position that you have been just absolutely brutalized in terms of injuries in that secondary. And he's someone that he's been in the NFL for a while now, and he's been to multiple different teams, but he still makes plays. He's not gonna, he's not like a home run. He's not like he's gonna lock up, the best receiver. But he's gonna be in that room to provide depth and make good plays when they're needed. I do have a good vision for what he can bring to this defense in terms of his versatility on that side of the ball.
I love it. Shout out to in the Woodward Sports Chat, the Purple Puma 8804. Thanks for the super chat. He says, I love what Brad Holmes has done for the Lions as a whole, but it's not just only because of him is why we're better now. Dan, Sheila, Rod, Mike, Chris, and the entire staff as a whole is why we are good now.
That's right.
Can't deny that.
Can't deny it.
Can't deny that.
Every chef contributed to this meal.
Yeah. The question is now how are you adjusting the menu? How are you adapting to the social media scene where these food influencers are coming out and picking apart every last
that are used to
flour.
Eating fucking McDonald's and now they want to critique 5-star cuisine, but that's okay. One guy in free agency we haven't brought up that I like. Pacheco's my favorite. The most interesting is Peyton Turner.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah. I think listen, I love guys that are first-round picks and have had, like, turf toe injuries and he get in a car accident or something like that. Like, nothing to do with, like, on-the-field issues and, kind of subtle injury type. And if you're a first-round pick, you had talent at one point. So to sign that guy, that's a wild card. that's something you just, you're putting some chips on the double zeros and hope it rides out. But that's what I'm interested in. I'm not saying he's going to be great. Why are you scoffing so bad at it? You think he's already just done?
I think he's dead.
Okay.
You were talking about where are you shopping to get these? Like, they literally found this guy at the morgue. Like, the morgue has swag now. They're selling. They're
Come
selling,
on, the dude was a first-round pick 4 years ago.
So is Marcus Davenport.
The morgue.
He just doubled down on a younger Marcus Davenport.
Listen, there's a lot of first-round picks that just don't turn out to be anything.
Oh, really? I understand that, but if I'm going to gamble a 1-year cheap contract on somebody, I'd rather go with somebody who had the talent evaluation at one point in his life.
And that's a good point, though, Stick, because it is an extremely cheap deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they got him for, I think it was like the minimum.
It better be a vet minimum.
Very minimum. It was like, I think maybe $1 million, if that. So, not bad.
Come on. Like, what's the worst that could happen? The guy turns out to be third-round caliber?
Okay, so you're not wrong if and only if they don't expect him to play. They aren't banking him on being the starting edge rusher.
That's why I said it's
They're banking
interesting.
on
That's
him
the thing there,
playing
bro.
more than 8 games this season.
Yep. Because
If the plan is, hey, if we can get you for 7 games and maybe 2 sacks,
Hell, not even that. If you just if I could just get you on the field,
If I could get you as part of the 52 man.
What the Lions, we don't need
Seriously.
anyone to distract the Lions of
You gotta
what they
make
need to
shirts.
do in terms of this draft, and that is drafting an edge rusher within those first 2 picks. And I don't care who it is, just please go get one because
aren't the signs
you gotta
pointing
do
to
something.
not? The signs are pointing to they're not, and it's scary.
Listen, the signs got to be wrong.
Brad Holmes, one thing he hasn't done
It's not a one way.
He's been wrong
This is not a
sometimes.
one way.
We're good. We're not good. He's been wrong. One thing he doesn't usually do is lie to us. That dude is doubling down.
I don't know. He's lied to us.
You look at the DJ Wanham signing. Some of these signings
That's a good one, too.
You know what? That's.
I like that signing. I do.
That's $6 million.
I like that one.
I like that, and I like it better than keeping Al-Quadin Muhammad.
Yes,
like
you do
But
because he helps you in the run game.
He does, and so
And let's be honest.
Ding, ding, ding.
Let's
That's
be honest.
their strategy.
And let's be honest.
You know what? DJ Wanham needs. Yeah, I'm glad
DJ
that
Wanham
that
has
name came
a
up.
career of getting sacks and stopping the run. AQM did not have a career of getting sacks.
Become is arguably the
he
worst
just
run
found
defending
his-
edge rusher in the NFL.
He just found
In
his
fact,
bread and butter with the Lions, where he was able to come in here and feed off of Hutch and get some sacks, and now go get that payday. But before this, he was floating around to team on practice squad to practice. Like DJ Wanham has been on a team. If it was multiple teams, it doesn't matter. He's been making a difference. He's been playing snaps.
Yeah, he's been a rotational. He's not like
He's
the
been a
backup
rotational piece.
depth piece. I like the DJ Wanham signing. I know we all want bigger splashes, but when you kind of saw the tape, especially with Bray breaking it down here, shout out to the Better Network show, matchup right here on Woodward Sports, 2 to 4 Monday through Friday. Shameless plug.
Facts.
But he broke it down pretty good. And what I loved about DJ Wanham is this guy can adjust on the fly. I think that's what makes him a really good run stopper is you could see things going one way and they're leading them that way, and all of a sudden that running back puts his foot into the ground and goes the opposite way. Not only does he have the speed to keep up and the dexterity to be able to reach out and grab, but the strength to make sure that he pulls them down. And that's what I like about this thing. You might take some steps back just a little bit as it relates to sacks compared to AQM, but in terms of the overall balance on his defense, we got better in that regard. And you're talking about now a guy who can make these kind of quicker decisions than an AQM, and you're putting him now on that line with an Aiden Hutchinson. We saw what that did for AQM, who before that opportunity, not many people saw much. We saw the flashes, but it was because he was right here alongside some of these players.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about going and getting a guy in Wanham who, Jeff, I think that you talked. It's exactly who he was. He was a serviceable player. Now you're bringing him here and you're placing him on a line that we're hoping has a better Aleem. You're talking about has a better year of
that's
Hutch and
what they're
things of that
doing.
nature.
That's their key. And this This signing kind of paints the entire picture of what their plan is on defense. Legion of Whom in the chat says, we were already slowest to the QB, then get rid of a double-digit sack guy and pay the same amount for a 3-sack guy and call it a good thing.
Listen, you can't pay attention. You can't pay attention to sacks as the only thing that you're looking at.
Brad Holmes it's the last thing he's paying attention to.
When you look at a sack, there's a lot of that can tell you a lie.
He'll be on the field more than AQM was for the line.
Real quick, Attila the Hun Detroit. 1 sec, Jeff. Double-digit sack guy who only got sacks on cleanups and breakdowns. I think that's where you were going.
Yep. He's not getting the attention. So if he's not getting the attention, his sacks are coming off of, basically a free rush, or maybe he got it there late when there was opportunities to, because maybe the defensive backs actually held their own for once. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it, and I don't think looking at his sacks for one season, it'd be different if he did this over multiple seasons, but just looking at one season where he had double-digit sacks, the painted picture is not a Picasso.
Yeah,
it's more like a third grade art project. And in terms of that, you want to go out there and get somebody that can do this consistently or had consistent play throughout their whole career, not just 1 year.
And we've seen it coming. Like, we saw there were games, stretches during the season where we didn't see AQM. Then he comes and plays in against this team, or this quarterback gets 2-3 sacks. Like, they didn't trust him on third down. They didn't trust him with anything to do with the run game. The more you really look at it, he was never coming back. So
think about getting gashed. Like, third downs was bad for us on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Like, if taking any steps towards shoring that up, even if we take proverbially a step back in the stats as it relates to sacks, I am okay for that. I just have that Pittsburgh Steelers game. Or repeat. It will live in my head until we make the playoffs again. Like, I just wish we had better run stoppers on that line at that time.
Doesn't it feel like, in the longest yard when the old coach, what's the guy's name?
Talk about it.
Remember
I'm so frustrated again.
Wait, what'd you say?
Gashed by Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren.
That shit hurts.
Led by Aaron Rodgers.
That was swept by the Vikings. Getting swept by the Vikings.
Yeah, we gotta. That's what I'm saying. We have to fix.
Not the Max Brosmer coming, ruining the Lions season.
The Vikings. The fucking Vikings. Then you sweep the division winner. Like, last year just made no sense.
I don't know which was worse, that Steelers loss or the Vikings loss.
Vikings, because it was two of them. If you win one of those Vikings games, you're in the playoffs.
True.
Dante is typing in all caps, and I think he's talking about AQM. He said, look at the Steelers game. That huge A run for the Steelers where they target is at.
Yeah, with their third-string left tackle and I think second or fourth-string left guard. It was ugly.
Have to fix that.
That game felt like Burt Reynolds in the longest yard. Remember the old coach?
At
the end of the game? Just like you put the old guy. It felt like an old folks home beat this Lions team that had playoff aspiration. Ugly season, but they had a chance to get in. They just got to beat the Steelers.
That's one of the first times I saw us out physical. They're just outmanned. Like, that was just like a bully beating punching you in the face over and over and over. And you want to sit back in your man coverage, not blitzing anybody. Just keep coming at us. Just keep coming at us. Not gonna send 8 to stop this and make you throw it over our head like that. And that's where the fed upness for just how we were dealing with any type of adjustment. Like, you're getting pounded like that in the second. They're running right at you. Put 8 in the box. Put 9 in the box. Put 10 in the box till they prove that they can fucking throw it over your head. And then adjust from there. Like, just
send them all. That's what Flores did. Send them all and let the quarterback beat you.
Put the pressure on. Put the pressure on.
And reading the chat here
Be
by
a dog.
Wova Lion Sports Talk here says, we let James Houston go. They were scheme fits. How can you let sacks walk but can't sack the QB? Because his sacks did not.
It was the same as AQM,
easiest
just
sacks
less.
I've ever seen getting, and
he shit his pants against Houston.
And it's not just letting
time to
the
go.
sacks
But then after
walk.
You got to switch schools.
Has he had this continued success in the league since then?
And he got more money.
No,
You didn't just let him walk.
He's had some moments where he's had a sack, but has he had continued success?
No.
So you're not going to pay him what he wants or what another team is willing to do. like the Cowboys in
got
terms
more.
to get him back.
Where he
into
got
the
some
building.
sacks in Dallas, yet they couldn't stop the run to save their life either. That team
And he
that
sucked in the
defense
run
is
game.
booty.
He was a will.
Yep.
The James
He
Houston's
got
aren't
bullied
the
in the
answers.
run.
Yeah.
You're looking for a younger version of Cam Jordan. You're looking for Cam Jordan, the
I think-
perfect blend of a run stopping
You said
veteran
the Lions should just
and a
sign
guy.
Cam Jordan?
Yeah.
Give me Ziggy Ansah.
Oh, I would love
What were
that.
you saying? He had just learned to play football?
Seahawks.
Out of BYU, just a
Yeah.
Nigerian coming in like, oh,
He was-
football, see ball, get ball.
Go get him.
Yeah, okay. Yes, coach.
Boy, the odds are error. My
Putting him opposite
my kids have
Aiden.
an Anza jersey.
Ah,
What do you guys think about Tyler Conklin? I love
great
them.
sign.
I
It's a
appreciate
feel-good
that sign.
sign.
That's a great signing because you know what? This is a room that you obviously are going to need depth in.
We got obliterated
Lions
last
are
year in
going
the tight end
to
room.
Love to run double tight end sets. They're going to love to
It's that
try to run the
physicality that
ball.
stick is
But not
called.
only that, but when you seen Sam Laporta go down and you seen
Brock
Brock
Wright.
Wright go down after that.
Yep, that was
There
tough.
was nobody on this roster in terms of a tight end. Like these other guys were not true tight ends. They were not.
No.
And they were absolutely getting like they didn't have anything going for them at all. So you get another able body and someone who is also a receiving threat as well. Like that's a great signing. That's a great signing.
Back injuries scare me
And you bring them back home.
almost as much as Achilles injuries. But like Laporta, a back injury, like you never know. I like to think he's going to come back and be Sam Laporta, but you never know.
Well, and there were rumors that he was trade bait too, like in this offseason as well.
That did pop up.
So, and that ain't me just starting shit.
Oh, no,
Those,
I
uh,
know.
That
you
popped
know?
up.
Yeah, so Sam Laporta, and we've seen that with Brad, with TJ Hawkinson, premier tight end. All right, maybe we can get some value for him and get some more people in the draft. So
Yeah.
I don't want to see Laporta go. I love Laporta, and you saw it last year when he was out of the offense. I think that was more of a big contributor than the offensive line sucking balls, because before they were doing all right, but then Sam Laporta goes down and it was a completely different offense because you don't have that security valve for Jared Goff, the most elite quarterback in the league.
Yeah. There's you said security blanket, that safety net. Like he's another guy who erases mistakes, erases inefficiencies or lack of talent on an offensive line.
And
he wasn't there, and then Brock Wright wasn't.
And
there,
in the red zone, man, like that red zone efficiency went way down
It's
because Sam
struggled,
Laporta was not a part of that offense anymore.
Yeah.
Yep, that was one of the things we talked about, the first quarters and the importance that Sam Laporta played. He was the outlet valve for Jared Goff last year in ways that we have traditionally seen Amon-Ra St. Brown be. But in those first quarters, Sam Laporta, after about game 2 or 3, was absolutely cooking. He could be relied on to move the chains, and he was a guy that was getting the looks in the end zone for the Detroit Lions, a couple of those touchdowns. And so when I look at the Tyler Conklin signing, I like the fact that they are bolstering. They're saying, hey, look, it's still on Sam Laporta. It's still on Wright, but we want to make sure that we have a little bit more depth in this room.
Yeah.
And I like the physicality. I wonder how much this helps as well, Sam Laporta not have to just play so much early on as he's coming back. Maybe this gives him the opportunity as well to be able to ease a little bit more into things because
Maybe
they have
you're
a
right.
couple different players who we know can handle the usage. But if you want these guys right, and if you're even thinking, hey, long term, we want to sign this guy, then you know what? Put these guys in their best possible position right now. I think health is something that you do have to take a little bit more serious if you're Brad Holmes and his Detroit Lions organization.
And if you have a rookie or Larry Borum at the tackle position, those
Rick
tight ends
Borum's
are
not
even
gonna
more.
be your tackle. There's no way.
$5 million.
I would like to have some
way.
tight ends that can chip away.
And then are you drafting a tackle in the first 2 rounds and he's immediately your starter?
I like my dude out of Clemson. I'd put him at starter at right tackle.
So you would like plug and play draft pick at tackle, put him out there.
As long as it's right tackle. I wouldn't do that at left tackle.
Okay. I'm cool with that. All the more important why you need Conklin and Laporta and Brock Wright to be healthy.
Yeah.
And Pacheco.
And Pacheco,
Yeah.
who's a better pass blocker,
Yep.
better in pass pro than David Montgomery was. And David Montgomery was good.
Yep.
I like that Pacheco signing too. Like
Gets better and better, doesn't it?
it does. And also he's unlike Montgomery, who feels he's still got a lot left and wants the ball more.
And he might.
Honestly, the best thing for Pacheco and the best thing for scouts watching him for his next move is for him to have a less than Montgomery role in this offense. Like, you want him to show he can still do some of the things that he could do, but not have the usage of a number 1 or a 1B back. Well, you want him less, and that's what they're doing.
Well, and he came in knowing his role, right? Yes. Like, when David Montgomery came in here, it was okay, Gibbs may not be what they all thought he was, but then Gibbs turned into the absolute superstar that he is, right? So, I don't know how much ego went into play with David Montgomery, but when you go into a situation knowing you're the backup instead of, like, competing for that backup role, I think it's a whole different mindset. Pacheco's just going to be happy to get his carries. He's not going to sit and pout and be like, I deserve more. Why aren't I getting more carries? Why aren't I the lead back? Why aren't we split carries? There's going to be none of that dissension in the backfield this year. And once again, this isn't a knock on David Montgomery.
Right.
It's just the product of the situation you were signed in. You came in not knowing, and then we finally figured it out once Gibbs got better. So Pacheco's not going to have that expectation of, I'm going to be able to take over carries. I'm going to have to split time. It's nope, you get 20% of the carries and stay healthy.
Yeah, and you know what? You said something very, very key there. It's not just him not crying for his carries, but it's about understanding when I'm in there, if it's just a block, that's what I'm here to do.
Yep.
When you have a David Montgomery, you have to look out for some of his carries. You have to say, Dag, we would really love to actually do some type of play-action player, but he wants the rock. We got to get him the rock. I wonder how those types of things play out when you're trying to keep a locker room harmonious. Now you have a guy, whether you're passing, play-action, if he's getting the rock or not, this guy is going in there to do whatever you've asked him to do, and he's not going to complain if he's not getting the looks that, maybe a David Montgomery is worthy of. Because I do expect David Montgomery to go and have some decent years. But when you talk about, David Montgomery not wanting to play the role that maybe Isaiah Pacheco is, you look at it the last few years, and the Lions have effectively shown David Montgomery, this is what we're going to do to you.
Yep.
And even the carries over the last from between this year and last year is down 30 carries. So he did put in work to average a few more yards per carry, but the role definitely changed. Mm-hmm. His touches as it relates to carries as well as the looks in the passing game, he went from a career year, 1 year, back to effectively down about to a third of those receiving yards in targets. So it changed on the fly, and I think that when you have a player like Pacheco who's willing to just stand in there and be Taz and be chaos, I think that makes Jared Goff that much more comfortable in the backfield. You just you brought Conklin in, you got your other tight ends that are going to be healthy, you improved the offensive line, and you put Taz back there, and you got another year of Jahmyr Gibbs who got to see what being RB1 is like completely. This is your show now. I think Jared Goff, in terms of what he has in his command center, it's gotten that much better.
It's why I think I don't know if I'm out on an island, but I think the likelihood of them drafting an interior offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds is much higher than expected. Yeah. Like, considering the $5 million given to Borum, the signing of Conklin, Pacheco, wouldn't you want that IOL, the interior, to be the best pass-blocking interior offensive line? You have a superstar athlete in Gibbs that you just need him to be able to get the ball and move forward, and then he can do what he can do. With Goff, you just need him to stand up, stand in the pocket, and step forward. He's shown he can step forward and make a throw.
Yep.
Where he struggles sometimes is getting out of the pocket.
And that's the thing. Some of that timing, that rhythm, the stuff that we had gotten so accustomed to, and they still did some big things on offense last year. It's not act like the offense didn't put up some numbers, but there were some things as it relates to the third downs. And we used to know we could rely on Jared Goff to Amon-Ra move the chains. And this year, it just seemed as if the timing was just a little bit off. Mm-hmm. Sometimes either a pass just behind or a pass just ahead. And I do believe it's because Jared Goff had less time to actually throw the ball this year.
Denver Blair.
Store that a little bit. Yeah.
And I've seen a couple people in the chat say this. Monty was starting to fumble a lot more. Hopefully Pacheco can clean that up. Yep. Let's also not forget that Montgomery was given an extension. He was paid more money to be happy. The writing's around the wall.
Yeah.
Gibbs is going to be that dude. You had a great year in 2023. We're going to give you more money to be that 1B and be happy. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think that they treated him well. Out of all the other players that they flirted with. I thought that David Montgomery actually got somewhat of a key. I really do. And they got an opportunity to play or at least to try and get to a Super Bowl. And they did. You're right. They re-upped him and they showed him some love at this stage of his career. And they didn't take away his ability to still shine and go into this next offseason where he got another little bit of bag.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, and we got fair value back, right? Like we used him, we needed he played his role, and we got great value back. Like to me, once again, playing the stock market,
that's a win-win.
That was good.
Opinion.
Yeah. Fourth and a 7th round pick. He'll use those to draft edge rushers late in the draft. Probably take a wide receiver in round 1.
Depth alignment.
Yeah.
I would love to. Oh God, I would love to watch this fan base fucking meltdown if he took a wide receiver.
We would be on for 24 hours straight.
Oh my God, dealing with crying. And we're cooked. And the window's closed. And Brad doesn't know what he's doing until that wide receiver ends up being like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Bro, you'd have to have the phone lines absolutely.
Oh my God. God, I would love if Brad just did some dumb shit like that just to watch these people freak out.
So first round fan base crashes out more with the first round pick of Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, or Kenyon Sadiq, tight end. Who crashes out more?
Oh, wide receiver for sure. Yeah. Tight end, you could be like, they're going to move Laporta. Like,
you know, sell it.
It's another weapon. Yeah,
a little. You can sell it.
Wide receiver would be like, they just spent 3/3 on Tesla last year. You spent a first on J-Mo. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, it would be the meltdown would be so. Like, as an agent of chaos, I would absolutely love that. Oh, now you got me rooting for Lemon in the
for
first
the
round.
Legion of whom I'm like, you just signed Greg Dortch.
Dortch!
The meltdowns would be so classic. I wish Brad Holmes could just troll them.
They can't do that.
No, I'm kidding. I really want this.
You might.
Like,
we really can't do that.
Yeah, we said that, and we're glad that we have J-Mo here.
IP Club, Brad takes a defensive tackle first round.
That's fine.
Please, no. God, no.
Why?
God, no.
Why?
See it happening.
God, no.
I could see it happening. They had Tyleek as one of their highest rated players last year.
Tyleek Williams.
And there were so many other players that you could have drafted.
And they
besides
didn't.
Him that would
didn't. All the edge
you
rushers
could
out
have
there.
drafted Will Johnson.
All of them.
Happier.
But he didn't. So why is he going to do it again this year? And Jeff, your mock draft is coming up here in 1 second, but I want to ask you specifically.
You better have a wide receiver.
As the roster is constructed today, how confident are you in Jared Goff?
That's a tough one.
And stick prepare.
Listen, I'm confident enough that Jared Goff can get some wins, but it's overall going to be a team thing, and if they don't address a right tackle and they don't address an edge rusher in this draft, then I'm not going to be very confident.
In this draft
because
or early?
You can't.
They're going to address it.
Don't ask Jared Goff to go out there and be your hero. Don't make him go out there and play hero ball because he doesn't have that in him. He is not going out there and doing a Josh Allen miraculous, 60-yard touchdown, rushing touchdown that is, after the play broke down and he'll
just throw a 63 to J-Mo. Am I
right? Lies.
He's not. Don't ask him to be your hero.
It was 80
Just
something,
don't.
63 in the air, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like an 81,
like
82 yarder, but 63 in the air.
in the air.
It was one of the farthest air yardage balls.
Where did he get that arm? Who did he borrow that from?
Oh, no, you can't throw a football. No,
there.
no, not that guy. Not the number 1 overall pick.
But he has Jahmyr Gibbs and St. Brown.
Oh, yeah. He's a product of the system, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is he the best acquisition of all time?
Who?
Jared Goff? 100%.
He wasn't a free agent.
He wasn't a free agent.
That's
but he's the
true.
best acquisition of all time.
Definitely.
What? Are we putting draft picks in this category?
No.
Okay, acquisition.
Acquisition.
Yes. In Lions history.
Name one who led us further.
I think it's him.
Yeah.
That's
all of the
crazy.
all of the superstars have been drafted. And I'll even put
Everyone else has been drafted.
It's got to be Jared
Yeah.
Goff,
What am I supposed
right?
to say? Everyone
Yeah.
else has been drafted.
It's a full circle moment from the beginning when we're talking about top of tier free agents not coming to Detroit.
Now, if we're talking about drafted, then no, absolutely not. What?
No, you got Barry and Calvin. It's tough to match those two.
Barry, Calvin, Penne, St. Brown. Maybe
St.
because
Brown's
he's
the
a
best
wide
late
receiver.
round draft
Sue in
pick
his
of all time.
prime?
Sue was a good pick. But
So, yeah.
But he gone.
In his prime, though.
They didn't do shit when those guys were here.
They didn't.
But they had Stafford at quarterback. How can that be?
Yeah.
He had a number 2 defense and
Best
Calvin
wide receiver of all
Johnson, a
time.
Hall of Fame wide receiver. But
Yeah.
he never had anything. Man.
But the front office was a mess, so it's not Stafford's
They
fault.
kept trying to rebuild around one guy.
Yeah, it's not Stafford's fault.
Tough.
Whereas Jared Goff has rebuilt 2 different organizations
That's
from,
it.
from the bottom
just
up.
2.
Nobody else has done. And that's what taking 2 teams from nowhere to NFC championship game.
Yeah, maybe I think it's like 2 people. Kurt Warner did it.
Kurt?
I think
No Super Bowl.
it was very small.
Nope.
Very small. Yeah, it was Stafford.
And
Super
just
Bowl in Detroit.
real
When
quick
was that?
before we get
Stafford
into the
playoff
draft.
win. Stafford out of a wild card round in Detroit.
Yeah.
When was that?
Weird. I don't know, man. But he throws a lot of touchdowns.
Goff did lose a divisional game though.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Stafford never made it to a divisional game.
Also lost the
It's
NFC
weird.
Championship.
It's weird. Yeah.
Game. Yeah. Odd.
I wanted to ask before we get into the draft.
Yeah.
This draft related, kind of, but I'm telling you, I'm completely stoked up. Stoked, not scared as it relates to second year Tate Ratledge. Exactly
Yeah.
that. But I wanted to be able to gauge where we are with Tyreek Williams because I'm not really hearing a whole lot of hype or support, but I'm also not hearing a whole lot of detraction or really anything about him. We just kind of throw him in. Even when we talk about defensive line, I hear other people. He's the name that I really don't hear.
You won't. Like, that's the thing with the interior defensive line. Like, their job's to swallow up space, take on double teams. He's not going to get sacks. He's not going to be a flashy player. So you're not going to hear his name if he's doing his job correct. He's just there to take up space, and he does a damn good job at anchoring.
There were a lot of people who thought that he left a lot to be desired, though, from that position. And that's where I'm wondering where people are at. I don't know where to have my faith at with Tyreek Williams. Obviously, as long as he's a Detroit Lion, we're saying, hey, look, come into year 2 and let's see you ball out. I know there's some things from college that kind of followed him into the NFL, according to some people or detractors of his that are here. And that's where I am hoping that this guy is what he's supposed to be. I really do, because then you have a defensive line that can be a lot more formidable, especially when you're talking about Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil another year away from those injuries. I am looking forward to what Aleem McNeil can be this offseason, where he's just working out to get better. And so that's why I just wanted to know where you guys were kind of at, like temperature check wise, with a Tyreek Williams.
It's like Stick said, it's the position. It's not the position isn't built for media. It's built to not be talked about, and kind of like you want to the less you hear a cornerback's name, the better game that they had.
Right.
With Tyreek and with that interior of the defense, like, if you're not a football expert breaking down each play and his technique, you're just looking at, all right, did they stop the run? No. Did they get to the quarterback? No. Okay. They spent a first-round pick on this guy who's supposed to at least be a difference maker in the run game early.
And up the middle.
And his best games
tough.
were early against shitty teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm no football scout expert.
You think that's more to do with like attrition though, like being a rookie big man in the trenches? Of course,
That's
the
what I'm
first
hoping
couple
it is.
games you have your energy, you have your strength, but then once
Yes.
those bodies keep beating on you, and remember, Aleem McNeil was supposed to be a big part of that equation
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference.
And
But this
he
is
wasn't.
and this is part of the criticism of Brad Holmes. You're 100% right. Like,
Yeah.
there
That
is
makes a big
attrition to that, especially that position. Last year, we needed more out of our first-round pick. We needed guys to come in and move the needle, be
Yeah.
game changers.
He's not
and
going to be Sam.
He wasn't that.
He's not going to be Aaron Darnold. He's not
No.
going to be Warren Sapp. He's not going to be Ndamukong Suh. So if we're looking for that out of him, you're going to be disappointed every single year.
And Brad Holmes said what they're looking for him. They're looking for him to be Aleem McNeil.
Yeah.
And Aleem McNeil took 3 years before we saw that, oh, okay, he could be a top 5 type
Well,
defensive
look at Jack
tackle.
Campbell, man. How many years did he take to become the best linebacker in the NFL?
Years.
Yeah.
That's what the problem is with at least a lot of the fan base, and I'm starting to inch more that way of like, I like these players. These players are great as you're building that foundation, and they're pieces that could be on a Super Bowl winning roster, but you needed more last year. Like you got to start taking chances and getting guys that you're going to go cause havoc on that defensive line. Not that you could get Jalen Carter at pick 27 or wherever they picked Tyreek, but that's a game-changing defensive tackle that wasn't available in that draft. You need those guys to go win a Super Bowl,
And that's
which is
what
where
I'm
we're
hoping
at.
to see is a lot more, I guess, disruptive force, disruptive action from Tyleik Williams in the middle of that line.
Yeah.
So that we don't have late in the season some of the gashes we saw with the running backs kind of having their way right up the middle. And that's where I see, let me see, Dante 151. He's a defensive tackle, not a defensive edge. Relax on Williams. I was just posing the question a little bit because there is a lot of love for Tate Ratledge, as well as I think Stick is the first person I've heard even really say this about Tyleik Williams. We give this to Tate Ratledge. If he had a little bit more around him on that offense, if his center was a little bit better, we haven't really talked about Tyleik Williams from that perspective. And I do, as we expect, Ali McNeil and Hutch to go to a different level coming off those injuries, which would be absolutely insane for Hutch, but we think he can get there. That bodes a whole lot better for a Tyleik Williams in the middle of that line, who I hope steps more into being a disruptor in the middle of that line.
That Tyleik Williams draft pick is that much better if you're going into last season with a breathing edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson. Like, yeah, those players are great if you had the rest around him. They can be difference makers to help take you from a number 15 ranked defense defending the run to a number 5. Or on offense, the same with Tate. But on offense, you lost Frank and you didn't do shit to address it. So he was exposed and he still did really good. But he wasn't good enough to make up for Graham Glasgow's deficiencies at that point in his career. Tyleik Williams, at the point in his career, wasn't good enough to make up for an Ali McNeil who wasn't all that healthy, or a Marcus Davenport who wasn't breathing, or Josh Paschal, or Levi O. All these guys, he's a good player, but he's not going to elevate guys who can't find the field. It's crazy. We got 7-8 minutes left. Jeff, I want to see Mock Draft 4.0 to see where your head's going for this draft pick. I look at your first 3 rounds really hard. You've done a really good job the last couple.
I'll tell you the picks. What I did was
Talk to me.
I did have to make a trade. All right, we made a trade in the first round.
Up or back? Or forward or back?
I traded back with the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
For pick 27, they move up to 17.
So you got 27 and what?
And then we pick up pick 58.
Okay.
As well. All right. And now what I did was I picked Blake Miller out of Clemson.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. And then in that second round, now we're working with a little bit more now. All right. So we did get Derek Moore out of Michigan as the edge rusher.
At 50?
All right, at 50. And then at 58, we got Davison.
Cornerback out of Ohio State.
Yeah, yep, there we go.
I'm cool with that.
And then in the 4th round, I stayed true to who I am and who I believe in, and that's Jalen Kilgore, the safety out of South Carolina.
Don't mind that.
That is
a good pickup,
versatile piece that this Lions defense needs.
That's adding playmaking to the defense. So despite the Roger McCreary and Christian Izzy you're still going cornerback early.
You still got to go because you can as this Lions team, like, you can never pick up enough depth and enough talent in that room because that room has continued to plague you over Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's time here in Detroit. That room has been your worst room without a doubt.
Where's your confidence level at him with Brad Holmes getting it right in the draft with a cornerback? Because Weezy D 3 and 3, I believe it was earlier in the chat.
We heard him.
Weezy D said that TA and Ennis Rakestraw are hurting his heart right now. How do you feel about that going into the draft?
So I'm different on TA than a lot of other people.
I appreciated his.
I feel like TA actually has improved and he's gotten better. The thing with TA was he was handsy, he was grabbing. He stopped doing so much of that. He stopped grabbing and he started being just playing true to, I'm in a good position. I make the play. I don't. Like, he just lives with it, but not giving them a free play with a penalty. So I'm not off the TA's train. I mean, he has to stay healthy, of course, and that's something that. That's definitely going to be, taken account of. He has to be able to stay healthy. But Ennis Rakestraw, we haven't seen Ennis Rakestraw. I have no idea what Ennis Rakestraw looks like in the professional football.
Is he going to play outside? Is he going to play next?
He had a good preseason, I heard.
Like, we have no idea. We have never seen this man on the regular season campaign. We have never seen this man on the field. Like, I don't have anything to say about Ennis Rakestraw because I have not seen him. you can't cut him because you gave a second-round pick. You paying him, man. You might as well see if he can give you something. You know what I'm saying? I got to leave here with something. All right?
He might be the only player Peyton Turner has played more than.
But you know what? Brad Holmes did call himself the DB whisperer, the cornerback whisperer. All right, well, now it's time. It's time to whisper. It's time to whisper.
Hey, baby, you mind playing the full season this year?
Can we get
Hey,
It's time to whisper. If you're Brad Holmes, it's time to work your magic.
hey, Enos, it's Brad.
You got the radio voice.
Just calling to say, hey, I'd really like you to play
Just calling to say, hey.
18 games this year. That'd be fantastic.
I'm picturing Martin Lawrence and Bad Boys 2
Whisper away, Brad.
at the morgue. Morgue looking up on.
I would have hey, T.A.
Yeah, nice fucking
T.A. Leave those hands
fucking eyes
by your side.
He cuts open the body and the drugs come out. Bad Boys 2.
When you gonna play, Miss Parker?
Oh, stop.
Peyton Turner.
Hey,
So cornerback.
Hey, Ennis.
Oh, and I had them
like
drafted a
whispering
quarterback,
stick.
too.
You drafted a quarterback.
Yeah.
A quarterback?
6th round.
Who?
Wait,
round.
CB or QB?
No, quarterback. 6th round.
So tackle, edge rusher, cornerback,
We
safety.
drafted Cade Klubnik in the 6th round.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Someone who can go and learn. You're gonna like this. Learn under Jared Goff, so that the Lions can maybe
Is he mobile?
have a capable backup.
Is he mobile?
He is somewhat mobile, but he's not like a mobile quarterback. You know, he's more of.
Is he black?
No, he's not black.
No.
Cade Klubnik, he plays for Clemson.
You never know. We need a black mobile quarterback. That's the only way everybody's going to be happy here.
As the backup?
No.
Get you the Hendon. Listen, if there was one, it's Mr. Lamar. Other than that,
Lamar Jackson?
I don't know who else.
Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton. Those are.
Oh, you talking about of all time, of course.
My bad.
I saw that.
We're going there. I'm taking Randall Cunningham.
Malik Willis just got paid.
I didn't know
Mike
if he was going
Vick.
into all time or if he was going into,
Well, you know what? Let me be a little bit fair to Cam Newton because I think we all saw a report that he hasn't officially retired.
Yeah, he hasn't officially retired. But you know what? Hey, listen, Cam Newton when he was
I like Cam.
Superman Cam.
I like
come
Cam.
on now.
I like Cam, but it was the intangible. He could do it all. It was the intangibles.
And to be honest with you,
that leadership.
If you look at what Carolina gave him, they gave him a bag of shit and said, go.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Smith is hardly a bag of shit.
No, I'm talking about
Luke
after
Kuechly.
that. They had Kelvin Benjamin, who was like
And didn't he
400
have
pounds at the
who are
receiver.
those running backs? Who were the D'Angelo Williams and who else? They had solid backfield too.
Yeah. I mean,
Just that receiver core was just like it was.
they gave Jared
Steve
Goff
Smith
a
was
4th
gone.
round wide receiver.
Yeah, and he turned him into an
And
All-Pro.
Rashard Perriman and Tyrell Williams.
Yep.
Like, not taking away anything from St. Brown, but the quarterback's got to get him the ball.
Yeah.
2nd round tight end, the quarterback's got to get him the ball. Like, it's not just a given that these guys were going to be superstars wherever they landed.
Yeah, I mean,
There's something to be said about that relationship and how the quarterback matches the player's game. That's why Puka and Stafford are a perfect marriage together.
you could look at
you
it-
could look around the league.
yeah. Look at it. I mean, look at it right now. Look at one of the wide receivers that was highly touted coming into the NFL, and Marvin Harrison, who has just struggled.
Yeah.
in his first 2 seasons here.
He had a midget throwing him the
inconsistent.
football.
I thought we weren't allowed to
can't
say
get
that.
open. He's not the.
We can't say
get open.
midget.
I thought we weren't allowed to say that.
It was
I don't know. I don't know. The
He
heavies,
said it.
the heavies gave me a hard time when I said it.
Of all the things the heavy said, they can't crack down on midget.
You guys should hear Terry Foster has a pretty epic column. It was the only one I wasn't allowed to post 2.5 years ago when we were doing more writing here at the network. The only one I had told. He's got a pretty funny story of an interaction
With a midget stripper, right?
in the bathroom. No.
Oh.
It's just a conversation he had based on the size of the stalls.
Ah,
You never
okay.
know because he do got to line up a stripper.
Yeah.
Man.
No, he's got a midget stripper story. You
Yeah.
know that.
100%, probably from Sacramento.
Yeah.
Love Sacramento. Well, boys, 9:30 has come. We're talking about strippers
Yep,
and
time to
Terry
go.
Foster. It's time to go. It's Sunday morning.
Shout out to the legend.
Everyone
man.
get back to what you do on a Sunday morning. But no, it was great being with you all this morning. If you could hit the like button on the way out, that would be great. If you could subscribe, that would be great. And if you could rip stick in the comments after the stream.
Yeah, please do.
Even more, That would be great. We appreciate everything you do to support the network. Stay close. We got shows live all week, Monday through Friday. And with college basketball playoffs, March Madness going on, we got live streams all over the place. And remember, Troy Tigers are about to start. Opening day is coming up.
It's on the way.
Woodward Sports in full effect.
Opening day.
On opening day, baby.
That's right.
We should be having some type of show going on.
I'm excited.
Who's going to be hosting that show, Mr. Matt?
I'm excited. People have been talking about it on some of the shows, right? It's not a secret.
That's right.
Maybe Matt Shepard and I are doing opening day. We're doing the live call.
Let's go.
Oh,
I'm
watch
really
party?
excited
Let's
for that.
go.
Yeah,
buddies.
Forget me. I'm pumped to do that. Having Shepard call a game, do one of our live watch parties, I think is a big moment that we're not talking about enough.
It's
going to be a hell of an opening day from the start of the day to the end of the day. There's going to be parties all over the place. We're going to be down there.
Come hang out with your boys.
Yeah. And we've had some pretty good to great, credentialed beat writers. You were one of those for the Detroit Tigers.
Nick Koloff.
Koloff.
I'm gonna say shout out to Nick Koloff for the job he's continuing to do, man. To take the mantle, and I think from a content standpoint, man, he's doing some pretty cool things. I've learned from Nick too. Man, shout out Nick.
Doing some stuff that not many people are doing in Major League Baseball right now. Got to see it. See you guys, Crazy Clown, Phil, New Money, WB Espinoza, I'm Salty, A Diz, Greg, Thomas, Duncan Stewart, JZJ all day, A Diz. Everyone have a wonderful Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday.
We forgot to do one thing.
Talk to me.
Rest in peace, Chuck Norris.
Oh, yeah.
The kicking man, that's my grandma would say.
Round out the kicking man. You said,
kicking man.
I heard you on a broadcast this week. Your grandma
She
watched everything
him.
of Walker, Texas Ranger.
She loved him, man. It was appointment viewing in the crib when we were there with grandma, and she would record him on VHS. Recipes, grandma. But when we were cleaning out things, it was crazy to see some of those tapes, like her soap operas. But she had the action. You know, her man in another life was Chuck Norris.
That's right.
Have the jokes come out yet about like Chuck Norris like letting himself into heaven or something?
He's doing his own eulogy.
Yeah,
was one of them that I saw.
Okay, good. As long as it's continuing.
Yep.
Everyone have a wonderful day. IPE Club, we're thinking about you. Hope everything's okay. Have a great Sunday. Go Lions.